Hey guys, today we are back with episode number 18 of Truck History. You guys have been begging for it, and today it's finally here. The history of Brockway Trucks. But before we dive in, we have a special announcement for you folks. We recently hit 20K subscribers, a milestone we never thought we'd reach. We love making truck videos just as much as you guys love watching them. Recently, we've made the switch to releasing 2 videos per week instead of our regular one. Because of our growth, we've added extra staff and equipment to help expedite video production. If you've enjoyed our videos this far and you'd like to help us create more videos, please join our Patreon community by visiting patreon.com/JacksChromeShow. Those of you who become patrons will be treated to our newest video series, Trucking Culture. The first episode features everyone's favorite trucking movie, Smokey and the Bandit, and will be released on Patreon only on May 1st. Those who join will also receive free decals, t-shirts, and truck posters. More details are coming in next Friday's video, but for those interested in helping us grow the channel and create more truck videos, please visit the patreon.com/JacksChromeShow link in the description and join our community. Let's get back to the history of Brockway Trucks. The tale of Brockway Trucks began in 1912 in Cortland, New York, although first founded as Brockway Carriage Works in 1875 by a man named William Brockway. Brockway would later be joined by his son, George, and together the two would go on to turn the carriage company into the monumental truck manufacturer we know today as Brockway Motors Company. The first true Brockways were built in January of 1913, manufactured in 3 model variants including the Model A, Model B, and Model C. These Brockways were built with an extremely simple engine construction, including only 7 moving parts. 1916 introduced the new worm-driven 1-ton Model O, the 1.5-ton Model J, and the 2.5-ton Model K. Later that same year, Brockway brought forth their intentions to expand their production by purchasing a new plant which would house the Brockway Motor Fire Apparatus Company. When we entered World War I in 1917, Brockway became a full-time truck manufacturer for the U.S. military, building close to 600 Class B Liberty trucks in total, in addition to quite a few firefighting freight haulers as well. By the time Brockway got involved, the First World War was almost over, which left the company with lots of leftover Liberty truck parts. This led the company to launch their modified 5-ton Liberty Model T truck in 1918. Skipping ahead a couple of years to 1921, Brockway unveiled their all-new Model E 3/4-ton Highway Express truck. By mid-1922, Brockway would debut a redesigned Highway Express Model E2 truck, which unleashed a new overhead valve motor that possessed plenty of power for pulling large loads. The company celebrated its 50th anniversary in 1925, after being originally established as the Brockway Carriage Works in 1875. The celebration continued into late 1927, as Brockway bought into a merger with Marion, Indiana's Indiana Truck Corporation. A comparable company that manufactured many medium and heavy-duty models also assembled using third-party parts that had captured the Midwestern market. However, the ever-evolving economic turmoil taking place during this time took a tremendous toll on Indiana's truck line as well as the entire industry as a whole. By mid-1930, the Marion, Indiana manufacturing plant was little more than a satellite Brockway plant, producing practically identical Indiana-badged Brockway builds. Unfortunately, this led to the difficult decision to close down the Marion, Indiana Trucks plant in late 1931, before ultimately selling all shares to White Motor Company. Despite the Depression dramatically decreasing Brockway's annual sales, it did not curtail the company's introduction of new models, with the most unusual being the very rare and rather costly Model V 1200. During the earlier parts of 1934, Brockway launched a massive 10-week, 1,700-mile-long 11-city tour of the Northeast marketing campaign called the Brockway Motorcade, which featured more than 20 of the models manufactured by the company and was intended to underline the importance of the industry. 1935 streamlined Brockway's lineup and saw the standardization of the firm's front-end construction, which featured 10 new truck models sporting sleek new parts. Later in 1937, Brockway began building a completely new line of cab-over engines in a variety of sizes that corresponded with the conventional cab counterparts. These cabbies were called Metropolitan models and technically took on a cab-forward truck design with the engine contained between the seats. When the Second World War broke out in the late 30s to early 40s, Brockway quickly converted their plant over to production of military materials. More specifically, Brockway began building their model B666 6-ton 6x6 truck, which copied the Corbett Company-designed Model 50 SD6 due to Corbett's drastically underdeveloped production capacity. Various versions of the B666 would be built as well, in the form of the firefighting F666 freight haulers, C666 crane carriers, and many more. After the war was over in 1945, Brockway produced what would prove to be one of their most popular models ever, with the Model 260. These brand new Brockways boasted a colossal new 572 cubic inch 6-cylinder Continental engine and a sleeper cab, which became a factory-built feature available the next year in 1946. The U.S. Army brought in a bunch of Brockway B66-based bridge builders and C666 crane carriers to win the war against Korea. In 1956, Brockway was bought by Mack, merging two of the oldest truck manufacturers while maintaining the same old standard methods of manufacturing used by Brockway since the start. However, Mack's major methods of marketing their brand made use of their beloved bulldog mascot, and Brockway soon began seeking out a symbol for their own semi-tractors. After happening upon the Husky pet name, the company's heavy haulers soon had harnessed Husky dog hood ornaments heading up almost every Brockway built since, starting with the 1958 Model N260TL. The next year in 1959, an all-new line of Husky motor trucks were launched, which made for the first brand new model built since 1935. These Huskies had an easily identifiable face featuring squared-off step-aside fiberglass reinforced plastic front fenders, and a cult classic chrome Husky centered on the hood, a look that would last long into the late 1970s. The next year in 1963, the company came out with a new cab-over engine Model 61, which mimicked Mack's F-series of semi-tractors. Even under Mack's control, the company's sales continued to crumble in the early to mid-60s. Nonetheless, Brockway persisted and began producing their Model 300 series. These freight haulers also featured the firm's first fiberglass reinforced grille surround, as well as fancy swing-out front fenders. By 1971, Brockway had broadened their brand by building both new manufacturing plants as well as new models, including the introduction of the innovative Model 527 Husketeer, which sported a shortened wheelbase and had a heavy-duty cab-forward design intended for use in cramped, confined settings. Despite boasting banner years in both 1971 and 72, unfortunately, Brockway became increasingly involved in the ensuing energy crisis and deepening depression during the mid-70s. The trucking industry as a whole was hit hard, and timing couldn't have been worse for Brockway's newly built 700 series to debut, but it did. Sadly, these new semis weren't very successful and saw scarce sales, subsequently causing a series of short-term layoffs during late 1974 and early 1975. More trouble found the truck manufacturer following the anti-lock air brake system mandate occurring around this era. As expected, the implementation of these additional anti-lock laws left heavy truck sales high and dry, eventually resulting in the requirements being repealed later in 1978, but unfortunately it was too late for Brockway. The subsidiary went up for sale on January 24, 1977, and saw several subsequent unsuccessful sales attempts, eventually leading to the overall liquidation of the legendary truck line in June of 1977. Despite the company's demise, there is no denying Brockway built some of the most beloved big rigs as one of the official, originally operating heavy truck manufacturers. That brings you up to date with the history of Brockway Trucks. Before you leave, make sure you like the video, check out the other videos on our channel, and subscribe. We have finally reached our goal of 20K subscribers, so thank you all so much for your support for the show. Next stop, 50K. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything else you'd like to talk to us about, please be sure to tune in to our live podcast, The Chrome Corner, Wednesdays at 12 p.m. noon Eastern Standard Time, and join Maddie and Dave as they answer viewers' questions and discuss all things Chrome. If you'd like to stay up to date with the new projects we have coming, please follow us at Jack's Chrome Show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We still have our truck history shirts available on our website at jackschromeshow.com, so please be sure to check them out. Save stacks on stacks at jackschromeshop.com with the all-new Roadworks exhaust kits for Peterbilt and Kenworth trucks. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next week, and remember guys, if your rig don't shine, you don't know Jack.